Hello everyone, welcome to my update US Gossip channel. The closing episodes of the new Sister Wives season have sparked one of the biggest debates the fandom has seen in years, and it all centers around one unsettling, emotionally charged conversation between Kody Brown and Robyn Brown, a conversation that, for many viewers, wasn't just a discussion about apologies but a revealing moment that exposed deeper patterns in their marriage, long-standing fractures within the Brown family, and the possibility that manipulation, whether intentional or subconscious, still exists in the dynamic that ultimately helped dissolve the plural household. When Kody told Robyn at the restaurant that he wanted to apologize to his ex-wives, his demeanor was almost disarmingly earnest, as if something about the sale of Coyote Pass and the emotional showdown surrounding it forced him to stop, look inward, and acknowledge the wreckage he helped create. Yet the second those words left his mouth, Robyn's expression shifted, frozen somewhere between shock, worry, and disbelief, which immediately set off alarm bells for viewers who have long believed she prefers the version of Kody who clings to her, depends on her, and remains alienated from the other women, because that version of him ensures her position as his emotional center, his legal wife, and the last one standing. As the clip circulated online, fans dissected every blink, every swallow, every tight smile Robyn delivered during the scene, interpreting her silence not as support but as resistance, a silent calculation of what Kody's sudden desire for accountability might mean for her sense of security, status, and influence within what is left of the Brown family, especially since the apology tour would require him to reopen emotional doors she spent years making sure stayed shut. The context surrounding this conversation only makes the moment more layered, because Kody's apology tour didn't emerge out of thin air. In the post-Special Forces press interviews he gave earlier this year, he struck a tone of regret, telling reporters that he wished he had handled his relationships better with his former wives and older children. Yet his words were immediately met with skepticism from both fans and family members. Leon Brown in particular delivered the most unfiltered rebuttal, posting an Instagram story accusing Kody of lying outright about reaching out after Garrison's death, ignoring them during the funeral, and hiding behind the cameras when real grief required real action, which is why Leon's message, calling him a joke of a father, hit the fandom like lightning and forced people to scrutinize whether Kody's remorse is genuine or a storyline crafted for his redemption arc. So when he told Robyn he wanted to apologize and own all the breakups, fans watched closely not just for his sincerity but for hers, and that's when Robyn's reaction became its own storyline, because instead of offering enthusiastic support, she sat and waited silence, blinking rapidly, her face tightening into the familiar look viewers describe as a mixture of frustration, fear, and possessiveness, a look that seemed to say, "Why are you doing this now?" Which led fans to flood social media with theories that Robyn was trying to discourage Kody without openly saying so. Her later confessional didn't help her case, because instead of praising Kody for wanting healing, she told producers she was sorta kinda shocked and dismissed the idea by pointing out how often Kody says things he never follows through on, almost as if she was planting the seeds for him to abandon the plan. And when he said his anger caused real pain, she minimized it by saying hurt was normal, subtly reframing the narrative so it didn't require him to take responsibility. And this small but pivotal moment is exactly why fans claim Robyn may be manipulating the situation, because therapy, accountability, and reconciliation could open the door for Kody's ex-wives, particularly Christine and Janelle, to reclaim emotional space in his heart, which could weaken Robyn's psychological stronghold, something viewers believe she has guarded fiercely since joining the family. This ties into a long-standing belief in the fandom that Robyn, whether deliberately or through deeply rooted insecurity, has always encouraged Kody to remain loyal to her storyline, the storyline where she is the misunderstood peacemaker, the most devoted wife, the one who never wanted the family to fall apart, even though many viewers see her behavior as contradictory to that image, because instead of encouraging unity, she often reinforces the emotional walls that keep Kody bonded only to her. When viewers rewatched the restaurant scene, they pointed out micro-reactions they claim reveal everything. The way Robyn's mouth tightened when Kody said he wanted to set the women free from thinking about him, the nervous blinking that fans joked looked like Morse code for "please don't do this," the stiff nod she gave when he said he caused pain, which came across more as resignation than support, the subtle way she shifted her body backward, as if distancing herself from the vulnerability he was showing, and the heavy sigh that slipped out after he finished speaking, a sigh that fans interpreted as disappointment, maybe even dread, because if Kody apologized to Christine, Mary, and Janelle, the narrative of him being the victim of their betrayals would crumble, leaving Robyn without the protective storyline that has shielded her from criticism for years. On Reddit and TikTok, viewers posted slowed-down clips of her expressions, with one popular post captioned, "Robyn realizing apologies give the exes closure, and closure gives them power," while another fan wrote, "She wants them to stay broken and divided so she can keep Kody isolated." This idea isn't new. Since the family's move to Flagstaff, many fans have argued that Robyn thrives when Kody is emotionally dependent on her, when he views the other wives as adversaries, and when he channels his anger through her, because it positions her as the only safe emotional haven he has left. Reopening old wounds through apologies could shift that balance and potentially repair relationships Kody severed in defense of Robyn, something fans say she would consider threatening to her standing. In fact, some viewers believe her insecurity is rooted in the fear that Kody still has unresolved emotional ties to his ex-wives, particularly Christine, whose departure triggered the chain reaction that led to the collapse of the plural family, and if Kody were to genuinely apologize, Christine, now thriving with David Woolley, would gain the moral high ground even more, proving she was not the villain of the breakup but a woman who finally chose herself after begging for emotional reciprocity Kody never offered. Robyn, who has long portrayed Christine's exit as betrayal, might see this shift in perception as destabilizing. Furthermore, several fans theorized that Robyn fears Kody's apologies could lead to renewed communication, and renewed communication could lead to the ex-wives setting boundaries that diminish Robyn's influence. Others argue that Robyn worries apologies might trigger self-reflection in Kody that leads him to recognize how heavily he relied on her perspective during the family crisis, potentially causing him to question whether her emotional cues, interpretations, or concerns helped fuel the conflicts that ended the plural marriage, and if he starts questioning that, he may begin recalibrating his view of the past, realizing the distance he formed from Janelle, Mary, and Christine often aligned with Robyn's frustrations and fears rather than objective reality, which could cause significant friction in their relationship. Throughout this season, Robyn has repeatedly expressed that she never wanted this and wishes the family could return to the United Times of Las Vegas, yet many viewers counter that her actions often contradict those nostalgic declarations. Instead of encouraging Kody to take steps that would repair his relationships, she tends to mediate in ways that deflect blame away from him, protect his ego, and keep him emotionally insulated from confrontation, patterns that align with emotional gatekeeping rather than genuine peacemaking. And that's why, in the restaurant scene, her silence spoke louder than any dramatic outburst could have. The hesitation, the tight smile, the controlled breathing, and the deflection in her confessional all gave the impression of a woman who recognizes that apologies are a doorway to dismantling the narrative she benefits from, even if she won't say it directly. Whether Robyn is consciously manipulating Kody or merely acting from a place of insecurity, fear, and the desire to maintain emotional stability within her marriage is something viewers continue to argue about. But what remains clear is that her reaction to Kody's apology tour was not one of relief or enthusiasm, it was one of tension, calculation, and discomfort, and that alone has fueled speculation that Robyn may indeed be subtly discouraging Kody from following through, not by forbidding it outright but by planting doubt, minimizing his feelings, and reminding him of his own inconsistency until the idea withers away. In the end, the question isn't simply whether Robyn wants Kody to not apologize, it's whether she fears the version of Kody who apologizes, reflects, and reconnects with the ex-wives. Because that version of him is unpredictable, self-aware, independent, and capable of re-evaluating the past in ways that might alter her role in his life. And for many viewers, that fear, more than anything else, explains the unsettling quiet she offered in that restaurant, a quiet that echoed louder than any words could, leaving fans wondering whether Kody's apology tour died in that moment, not because he changed his mind, but because Robyn needed him to. And as fans continued replaying the restaurant scene frame by frame, the discussion shifted from mere speculation to something deeper, an exploration of the long-standing emotional patterns that have shaped Kody and Robyn's marriage from the moment she joined the family. Many pointed out that during earlier seasons, Robyn often positioned herself as Kody's confidant, the one who offered understanding when the other wives pushed back, creating a dynamic where she became his emotional default. And over the years, that dynamic solidified into something almost unbreakable, with Kody instinctively seeking Robyn's validation before making any major decision, even those involving his ex-wives or children. So when he announced his desire to apologize, viewers argued that his first instinct was not to follow through, but to check with Robyn, to feel out her reaction, to see whether she would support or resist it, and the fact that her response was hesitant, quiet, and uncertain seemed to signal to him, even subconsciously, that the timing wasn't right, that the emotions were too complicated, or that maybe the apologies weren't necessary after all. And this possibility is exactly what fans believe makes her reaction so powerful, because it shifts the entire arc of Kody's supposed redemption from something self-driven to something externally influenced. In fact, some fans have gone as far as to suggest that the apology scene could become another turning point in the show, one that highlights the uncomfortable truth that not only were the ex-wives exhausted by trying to communicate with Kody, but Robyn may have played a larger role in shaping his emotional reactions than the show openly portrays, and if she is indeed subtly discouraging him now, even with a single look or a moment of silence, it suggests that the future of the Brown family, even in its fractured state, still hinges heavily on Robyn's responses, and for many viewers, that realization raises a chilling question: if Robyn can influence whether Kody apologizes, what else has she influenced behind the scenes?